Jack had returned from his first adventure atop the Beanstalk, his pockets heavy with gold and treasures unknown to his village. The Beanstalk had been cut down, leaving only memories of clouds, giants, and riches that felt almost unreal. Yet, some nights, Jack's dreams whispered to him, a voice soft but insistent, urging him upward once more. What lies beyond what I have taken? The voice seemed to ask. Is there more than gold? More than escape? Jack awoke with the taste of unanswered questions on his tongue. For the first time, he realized that wealth alone could not fill the void curiosity had carved in his soul. The hidden call. Weeks passed. The villagers praised him, envied him, or ignored him. But Jack's mind wandered always to the clouds, to the giant's castle, to the echo of footsteps that were not his own. One afternoon, standing in the meadow where the Beanstalk had been, Jack noticed a small shoot trembling in the sunlight, delicate yet insistent, a green defiance pushing through the soil, as if nature itself had remembered what had been lost. Jack's heart raced. He knelt beside it, brushing dirt from its stem. It was tiny, fragile, yet filled with possibility and silent promise. This is no ordinary plant, he whispered to himself. I have been summoned. The decision. Jack knew the world below would not understand. No gold, no fame, no reward could justify another climb. And yet, he felt the stirrings of something far greater than adventure, a need to confront the unknown inside himself, to seek a treasure that might not glitter. He packed lightly, bread, a small knife, a journal to record thoughts and fears. This time, he carried not greed but intention. As his hand touched the Beanstalk, it seemed to pulse beneath his fingers. It had grown overnight, stronger, taller, more alive than before. And for the first time, Jack realized that the journey upward was as much internal as external. The climb begins. Each leaf he grasped, each knot in the vine, tested not just his body, but his resolve. Memories of the giant below surfaced. The fear, the awe, the thrill of survival. But now, the climb carried a new weight. The unknown stretched above him, vast and silent. And in that silence, Jack heard his own thoughts. Clearer than ever. Am I seeking treasure or understanding? Do I crave wealth or growth? Can I face what I fear most, my own limitations? Hours passed. The clouds thickened around him, and at the very edge of the mist, something shimmered, a glint unlike gold, beckoning him forward. Reflection, the true treasure. Narrator's voice softens, drawing the listener inward. Sometimes, the greatest treasures are not those that shine. They are hidden in moments of courage, in the choice to ascend once more, in the quiet acknowledgement of our own curiosity, fear, and desire. Jack's journey was no longer about riches. It was about facing the unknown within himself, about daring to climb even when the world below called him safe. And at that moment, Jack realized that this second ascent would reveal not just what the clouds held, but who he truly was. After what felt like hours, Jack finally broke through the thick veil of clouds. The sunlight was muted, filtered through mist, painting the world in shadows of gold and silver. Beneath his feet, the giant's castle lay in ruins, a memory frozen in time. Yet, amidst the rubble, something new shimmered faintly, a light that did not belong to gold. Jack's heart quickened. He took a cautious step forward. Every instinct screamed caution, yet every whisper inside urged him on. The first glimmer. As he approached, he realized the light was coming from a small alcove tucked behind a collapsed tower. Inside, instead of coins or jewels, lay a chest covered in ivy, its surface etched with symbols Jack had never seen. He knelt before it, tracing the carvings with trembling fingers. Something about the markings felt familiar, as if they resonated with a hidden part of his own memory. "This is not gold," he whispered, "and yet it calls to me." A voice of reflection. Jack paused, listening to the wind whistling through broken towers. It seemed to carry a voice not human, not giant, but the echo of his own thoughts. Do you seek treasure for wealth or for understanding? Are you climbing to claim or to learn? Do you fear failure or the truth about yourself? Jack realized he had not asked himself these questions on his first climb. Back then, The beanstalk was a ladder to riches. Now, it was a mirror to his own inner world. The chest opens. With a deep breath, Jack lifted the lid. Inside, he did not find gold or silver. Instead, scrolls, journals, and strange artifacts glowed faintly, as if the sun and clouds themselves had placed them there. He picked up a scroll. Its words shimmered with a light that seemed alive. The greatest treasure is the courage to face what you are, and the wisdom to grow beyond what you were. Jack's breath caught. For the first time, he understood the treasure was not material. It was knowledge, self-awareness, and the challenge to transcend fear, greed, and limitation. Reflection beyond riches. Narrator's voice softens. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are invisible. They reside not in coins or crowns, but in the courage to explore the unknown, to face our own flaws, and to embrace growth. Jack realized that this second climb was not about repeating past glory. It was about discovering a part of himself that had been hidden beneath desire and fear. And as he stared at the scroll, he knew that this journey had only begun. The treasure explored. Jack carefully lifted the artifact from the chest. Scrolls, journals, and small carved objects, each radiating a soft, almost otherworldly light. He felt an odd mix of excitement and unease. Each artifact seemed to whisper to him, not in words, but in feeling. A small wooden figure, worn and hollow, carried a sense of loss and endurance. A crystal orb reflected not light, but fleeting images of Jack himself, memories, fears, and moments of courage. He realized this treasure was alive in a sense that gold never was. It demanded attention, reflection, and understanding. The enigma appears. Among the scrolls, one was sealed with a strange symbol, a circle intersected by a vertical line, almost like a key to the unknown. Jack unrolled it carefully. The scroll read, "To claim the true treasure, one must confront what they hide, face fear without falter, and embrace the unknown without judgment." Jack frowned. This was no simple puzzle. No instructions, no step-by-step guidance. It was a challenge of the mind and heart, a test that demanded courage beyond action. It demanded self-awareness and choice. A moment of doubt. Jack sank to the ground, staring at the scroll. Doubt crept in. Do I dare try? He asked himself. What if I fail again? What if I am not ready to see myself clearly? His first climb had been about gold, survival, and escape. This climb was about truth. Truth is heavier than gold, harder than fear. He realized that the biggest threat was not the beanstalk, the giant, or the clouds. It was his own hesitation, doubt, and avoidance. Reflection, the inner journey. Narrator's voice draws the listener inward. The hardest climbs are not always physical. Sometimes, the tallest peaks lie within ourselves. Facing the unknown, confronting fear, and embracing our own limitations. These are the challenges that truly define us. Jack understood that the treasure demanded inner courage, not brute strength. He had to climb again, not upward, but inward, the first step forward. Taking a deep breath, Jack rose to his feet. He picked up the crystal orb and let its faint glow fill his hands. For a long moment, he stared at his own reflection in its surface. Then he whispered, "I will face it. I will see what I have hidden from myself." The clouds around him stirred, as if acknowledging his decision. A new path of light appeared between the ruins of the castle, leading him further into the unknown. Jack's second adventure had truly begun. Not for gold, not for glory, but for self-discovery and courage. The path unfolds. Jack stepped onto the new path revealed by the clouds, the crystal orb glowing faintly in his hands. The ruins of the castle stretch around him, silent and enigmatic, yet alive with subtle energy. He noticed a faint trail of golden light, curving upward along the broken battlements. Each step seemed heavier than the last, not from fatigue, but from the weight of choice pressing upon him. The guardian of the treasure. At the end of the trail, a figure emerged, not a giant, but a shadowy presence, shifting like smoke. Its eyes glimmered with intelligence, and its voice resonated inside Jack's mind rather than his ears. To claim what you seek, you must confront yourself fully. Step forward without pretense, without fear, without desire for what is not yours. Jack's heart pounded. It was not a physical fight. It was a confrontation with his own motives, fears, and ambitions. the trial of reflection. The figure raised a hand, and Jack felt visions rising in the air. Scenes of greed from his first climb, when gold blinded him. Moments of hesitation, when fear held him back. Shadows of doubt whispering, "You are not worthy, you will fail." Jack realized this was a trial, to face every choice he had made, every fear he had ignored, and every part of himself he had avoided. He sat on the ruins, closing his eyes. The orb pulsed gently in his hands, encouraging him. He allowed himself to acknowledge mistakes, regrets, and desires, without judgment. Every truth he admitted felt heavy, yet liberating. Reflection. Courage beyond action. Narrator's voice deepens. Courage is not always about facing danger outside. It is often about confronting the hidden chambers of our own mind, the unspoken doubts, the desires that mislead, and the fears that paralyze. Jack realized that his previous adventures had tested his body. This trial tested his soul, his self-awareness, and his willingness to grow. True treasure, he now understood, is never gold. It is a clarity and wisdom gained when one meets oneself honestly. The choice. The shadowy figure whispered again. Will you proceed with clarity, or flee into the comfort of what you know? Jack stood slowly, feeling the weight of every prior decision. He knew he could turn back, return to the safety of his village and the gold he had already claimed. But he could not. "I will continue," he said aloud, voice steady. "Not for wealth, not for glory, but to understand myself in the world beyond what I know." The figure shimmered and faded, leaving the path clear. The next stage of the journey awaited, the core of the treasure. After navigating the path illuminated by the crystal orb, Jack reached a secluded chamber atop the ruined castle, a place untouched by greed or haste. Here, the air was still, vibrating subtly with the pulse of something ancient and knowing. In the center stood a pedestal holding a single artifact, a golden seed, smaller than his fist but glowing with a quiet, enduring light. Jack approached slowly, sensing the weight of meaning heavier than any gold he had ever held. The seed speaks. As Jack lifted the seed, images and thoughts filled his mind, not visions of wealth, but of life's choices, consequences, and growth. The fear he had felt as a boy, hesitant to climb at all, the greed that had guided his first ascent, the courage he now summoned to face himself honestly. A silent understanding emerged. The treasure was never material. It was a wisdom gained through trials, the courage to confront fear, and the willingness to grow beyond previous limitations. Reflection, life's true treasure. Narrator's voice deepens, drawing the audience inward. True treasure is measured not in coins, jewels, or fleeting power. It is measured in the courage to face oneself, the clarity to see beyond immediate desire, and the wisdom to embrace growth. Jack realized that every climb, every encounter, every doubt had led him to this moment. The golden seed was a symbol, not of riches, but potential. The potential within every individual to rise above instinct, fear, and limitation. The choice for the future. Holding the seed, Jack understood that he could take it down to the village, where it might be misused or misunderstood. Or he could leave it, allowing the knowledge to remain sacred and alive for those who were ready. Jack whispered to himself, "The real journey is not what we take, but what we carry inside. What I have learned is the true treasure." He placed the seed back on the pedestal, feeling a deep sense of peace. The treasure was now within him, inseparable from his understanding, courage, and reflection. The return. Jack descended the beanstalk slowly, his steps light but confident. He returned to the village, not as a boy chasing gold, but as someone who confronted himself and returned wiser. The villagers noticed a change in him, though they could not articulate it. Jack had discovered that the richest treasure lies in knowing oneself and choosing growth over fear. And so, the Untold second climb became more than an adventure. It became a story of courage, reflection, and eternal quest for inner wisdom.